One idea I've always loved in fiction is the evil clone. When you have an evil version of a character, you can show what it would be like for a hero to be everything that they aren't, like a mirror. The evil clone is either a manifestation of the main protagonist's anger, like Battle in her TKO, or a completely different character entirely. Arguably, the most iconic of this trope is Metal Sonic of the Sonic series. Although Sonic has quite a colorful cast of rivals, none stick out to me quite like Metal Sonic. Even though Metal Sonic is pretty much an excuse for a boss fight with Sonic's abilities, there is one game that greatly expands his character. But before we get to that, please know that this isn't the first time I've discussed a doppelganger. I've already did a video on Mini Lemon. This video will be like a spiritual successor to that video, so make sure you check that video out. If out of the way, let's talk about why Metal Sonic is amazing. The first appearance of Metal Sonic comes from Sonic CD, where his portrayal is very solid. We first meet him at Collision Chaos, where he kidnaps the lovesick Amy Rose. We watch helplessly as Metal Sonic takes Amy Rose to Eggman, and this is a huge moment for the Blue Blur. While Sonic does find Amy to be a pain, uh, he still wants to save her because he's got a good heart. We gave chase to Metal Sonic, trying to stop him. Throughout the game, we can see holograms of him crushing animals, which is an interesting parallel of him and Sonic. Sonic is a character who believes in freedom, which is shown by him destroying robots to free animals, but Metal Sonic is a machine who believes in turning the world into a mechanical utopia. With his own two titanium hands, and if he has to crush a couple of fleckies, then so be it. Even Mel Sonic's design is very sharp and mechanical, representing how he's nothing more than a machine through and through. We then see Mel Sonic in the second to last node, Stardust Speedway. Mel Sonic then challenges Sonic at the one thing he's known for, not his strength like any other Sonic boss, but his speed. That's right, gents and gentlets, we have to erase Metal Sonic. Gotta be honest, this is my favorite boss in the game. The whole time, you want to prove yourself you're the better Hedgehog while dodging spikes than Mel Sonic himself. Eventually, you win, as Metal Sonic gets crumbled by a door, and we save Amy Rose. All in all, a solid introduction for a mainstay of the franchise. If it really paints Metal Sonic as nothing more than a machine that's cold and soulless, and little did we know that his next appearance would be his best. In my mind, Sonic Heroes has the best interpretation of not only Metal Sonic, but also the Chaotix, or detective agents in the Sonic world. Remember them now. Throughout the game, Eggman's doing his normal shtick, terrorizing our heroes. But at the end of Wild Canon of Team Sonic, we learn that this isn't Eggman we're fighting. It's Metal Sonic. The reason he's been terrorizing our heroes is to copy their data. Specifically all of Team Sonic, Shadow, and Froggy and Chow, who he kidnapped prior to the game. Now Metal Sonic's got a whole new design and looks as if Sonic became Eggman. I love this design. It keeps the soulless nature with the fashion of Junko Inishima, or, well, Eggman. The best part? He talks. His voice sounds as if Gygas from Earthbound possessed a robot, and it's awesome. In the final story, Metal Sonic turns into a kaiju, Metal Overlord. When I first saw this, I thought it was just as cool as Perfect Chaos and the Vile Lizard, because it is. This thing looks like it'll obliterate anything it sees, even though its transformation takes around 49 jumping jacks. Anywho, Sonic and his team uses the power of the Chaos Emeralds to stop Metal Sonic as the final boss occurs. We also learn more on why Metal Sonic's doing this, that he wants to prove everyone, himself included, that he's the real Sonic. He was made as a clone, but believes himself as his superior. Again, it's really sad when you think about it. Unfortunately, Metal Sonic loses because he doesn't have the one thing Sonic has: good friends. Yeah, it's sappy, but Sonic would have lost had it not been for Tails and Knuckles, people who he's been pals with for years at this point. Even Shadow, who isn't that social, has Rouge and Omega. Even the final boss song, What I'm Made Of, could be seen as in the eyes of Metal Sonic, with lyrics like, I don't care what you're thinking as you turn to me, because what I have in my own two hands is enough to set me free. It's one of my favorite final boss themes, and one of my top 80 favorite video game tracks of all time. Metal Sonic is defeated as Team Sonic runs off to the distance. All in all, this is definitely the best appearance of this metal doppelganger. Unfortunately, no other appearance has ever topped this. We must now talk about Metal Sonic and the Color Zero. Also, by the way, yes, I still think Rouge is really hot. While I don't hate any of his appearances in later games, except for one, I will admit that Metal Sonic has become oversaturated in modern Sonic. His later appearances have become what he was created to be, a boss fight. There's no cool moments, no cool kaiju, And no awesome boss song. Metal Sonic has been stripped down to what the Koopalings from Mario, which I actually like, by the way, are a boss fight. Let's get into some of his boss fights. Arguably, his best appearance in the series, Mania. Now, you may call me biased, considering Mania is one of my top 10 favorite video games of all time, but this version of Metal Sonic feels a lot like Sonic CD's and Heroes' interpretation of him. For one, the boss fight... Why did I say that soundly? For one, the boss fight starts off with one of those holograms of him crushing animals. We also have him turn into a kaiju like Heroes. It's nowhere near as cool as Heroes, but it's still something. All in all, Mania actually tries with Metal Sonic, and it's probably my third favorite appearance of him. Forces is really confusing. Like, why does Infinite have a copy of him when he's a robot? You can just produce more of him and boom. Instant army of Metal Sonics. Story reasons aside, his boss fight is really good. Yeah, I said it. It's not as good as Manias or Heroes, but it's decent. By the way, Force is a really overhated game. Yeah, it's not a masterpiece, but it's still fun. You know what isn't a good game that conveniently has Metal Sonic in it? Sonic 4. This game is the sister location of Sonic, and one of the worst gaming experiences I've ever had. Metal Sonic is at his worst here. You want to know why? Because he has a whole new side mode where he's playable that adds very little to a very little plot. You know what you do in this side mode? Play the stages backwards. That's it. That's the whole game. You know you're gonna lose to Sonic or fight him, so it's like... Yada yada yada! Shut up! Let's just get to fighting him already! Not that, like, I think all modes where you play as a villain are bad. It's just, why should I care when all these stages suck? Nothing's even different about Metal Sonic's moveset. He's just Sonic with a coat of paint. Well, I won't complain anymore. It's a 12-year-old game, and although Sega states that all games are canon, Sonic 4 does not seem to be all games. Mania and Superstars are nails in the Sonic 4 coffin. Good. Even Metal Sonic had some pretty bumpy moments. I still think he's one of the best Sonic characters, and one of the best clones ever. Nothing will ever top Mini Element, but Metal Sonic is the original. Also, Sonic and Shadow Generations trailer came out, and it's shown that he has so far looks like he has a pretty good interpretation of him. I can't wait for when that game comes out. But before I end this video, I want to say thank you. While I was writing this, I gained 35 subscribers. It was always my dream to entertain people with my thoughts, but I always thought people would just not be interested. You all proved me wrong. Although I'm not as popular as Mr. Beast, I still have made a small community. Thank you all for giving me a chance. I don't know what's next for this series, but I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching.